Everyone's panicking, markets are crashing, and we know that traditional finance just had 4.5 trillion erased from the market. And crypto, well, it's getting crushed alongside it. Fear is at an all-time high, highest we've seen since the last crash. And if history repeats, which we know it does, then the next move could very well catch everyone completely unprepared. And smart money knows the pattern, they know the drill, so they're not scared, they're loading up. So in this video, we'll reveal the biggest signal yelling loud and clear for all of us to not be fearful and buy more Bitcoin and top valuable blue chip tokens if we can. We'll also discover why institutions are moving quietly behind the scenes and how global liquidity could send Bitcoin to new all-time highs as we have never seen before. So don't get shaken out, guys. The real opportunity starts now. So hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica and I'm so happy you're here with me today. So without further ado, let us get into today's research. Okay, so today's video is more or less short and concise and to the point. So bear with me as I skim through some data and focus on other data. So as we see on the screen here, Bitcoin at the time of my video is at about $80,000. Earlier today it was higher, 82. We know it's been up, down, but generally in a sideways trending motion, which should frankly catch no one by surprise here. Hopefully you've been watching my videos and you know where we're at in light of history and the general markets. So let's keep moving on. You would know that I'm not concerned by Bitcoin's price, nor are the smartest money, smartest, oldest, strategic money. They're not scared. And I'm going to zoom in on that information for you in this video. So let's keep moving through. And once again, it doesn't even take us, as you can see on my screen here, having been through past bull runs in the crypto space. It only takes us looking at this present bull run, this time, our moment in history, to see that Bitcoin has already undergone several corrections since the beginning of this bull run, starting in 2023. So you can see we've seen a 22% correction, followed by a 21% and a 32% correction. So as of now, we're seeing a 28% correction, which is normal and healthy, as I have said in the past. But that said, as much as history tends to rhyme with itself, it's very interesting to know that throughout history, there's always new reasons, but somehow it always more or less unfolds in a similar way or follows a similar pattern, even though the events in history are different. So I find that personally very, very interesting. But let's keep moving on. Let's see what is going on the macro level. So here you can see, and we're also just going to zoom right past this. We're not going to meditate or focus very much on the current conditions of the altcoin market. We know that altcoins follow Bitcoin in large part, and we know that Bitcoin is still susceptible and has still not decoupled or separated from traditional markets and the traditional stock market. In Bitcoin, despite it being globally adopted, as we're also going to see in today's video, it's still nevertheless considered a risk asset. So when the stock market crashes, of course, Bitcoin's also affected, and therefore all of the altcoins affected as well. But once again, as long as you're holding good crypto tokens with real value, real utility, real teams, real tech, solving a real problem, once again, then you have nothing to worry about. You should only worry if you're holding bad tokens. So, and that said, it's not too late. Just cash out of them or just start focusing. You can't keep, you have to focus on the future. You have to move forward. So looking at some general information, stats and data on how the market is doing. As of today, you would see that, and according to Unusual Whales count on X, that $1.5 trillion was wiped out of the stock market today. So we're definitely not alone in the crypto space. In large part, I shared this yesterday, so this news isn't entirely new per se, but it is my responsibility to share with you. This is how I feel anyway, to share with you every day, Monday through Friday, how we're doing. So if this sounds redundant, I'm sorry, I guess, but this is where we're at. And the reason I'm primarily sharing this with you is not to spread fear, but it's because the crypto market is not, in a silo all by itself suffering. It's because it's part of a larger macroeconomic condition. So that said, if we zoom even further out, according to Kobesi letter here on X as well, you would know that since February 20th, the S&P has erased a whopping 4.5 trillion in the market cap. So once again, we're part of a larger narrative, and that's very important to remember. But that said, now we're going to start focusing on what's amazing that's happening in the crypto market and in the world. So let's listen to what the new Secretary of Commerce, Lutnick, has to share here to NBC News. And I completely agree, and just listen to the conviction in this man's voice. And if you don't know who he is, go do a little research. It doesn't take a long time to learn more about him and his background, and you'll feel all the more reassured as to who Trump has surrounded himself, who the voices that he's listening to, and the advice and the experience he can also lean on outside of his own experience. And this is extremely reassuring to me, and I think it should be reassuring to you. So let's play what he has to say regarding Trump's administration and leadership and how the market is going to be okay. So let's take a listen.
Should Americans brace for a recession?
Absolutely not. Anybody who bets against Donald Trump, it's like the same people who thought Donald Trump wasn't a winner a year ago. Donald Trump is a winner. He's going to win for the American people. That's just the way it's going to be. There's going to be no recession in America. What there's going to be is global tariffs are going to come down.
Yes, I believe this.
President Trump has said, you want to charge us 100%? We're going to charge you 100%. And you know what they say? They say, no, don't charge us 100%. We'll bring ours down. We'll unleash America out to the world, grow our economy in a way we've never grown before.
So there you have it. Now, mind you, I know he's a very charismatic person. So that's easy also. If you're highly critical, I'm highly critical. I am a philosophy undergrad. Then I have my MBA as well. But as part of being a philosophy undergrad, and just in general, right? And I think many people don't like Donald Trump because of the way he speaks or some of his demeanor, But that's separate, right? That's just personality. You really have to look at someone's track record to know and to be able to trust in their ability to, deliver on their promises. So once again, despite Commerce Secretary Lutnick's real charismatic personality, which, may just signal like false confidence, I believe and agree with everything that he said. So, and because I've done my research, I know who he is, I agree. Donald Trump is a deal maker. Everyone wants their countries to be successful. Everyone wants the economy to move forward. No one wants to be in war. All the countries of the world are connected. So when one suffers, everyone suffers because everyone imports something from a different country and everyone is, interlinked. So I'm not concerned, but anyway, let's keep moving forward. And then next, I am sharing this post shared by Arthur Hayes. Mainly, I don't agree necessarily with him and what he's projecting here. He says that he believes, Bitcoin will bottom out around 70K. I don't agree with this. Now, I don't know what information he's gone off of or what calculations he's basing this off of. I do know that he wrote an article, which I need to go read, but I heard about it. It's called The Ugly. And in this article, I guess, he breaks down his reasoning. So anyway, we're going to skim past his projection of 70K. Arthur Hayes, mind you, in the past has been correct sometimes about some of the calls he's made on how the market was going to react. And he's also been incorrect So as far as I know with Arthur Hayes, and I mean no disrespect to Arthur Hayes, it's been like so far, I don't want to say it's a 50-50, but it's definitely not 100% accurate, his projections. So anyway, what I do want to focus in on here for you, and what I do agree with, is the way he breaks down the logic of what is going to happen in the market. And a lot of this I've already explained in my previous videos, but basically we know that we need interest rates by the Fed to be lowered in America, so that borrowing will be cheaper, so that people can get loans out. It'll propel business because it'll be cheaper to do business. So we know this needs to happen, but we know that Donald Trump and Congress, no one basically in the American government can force the Fed to lower rates. They're like their separate company entity that holds the American people hostage, basically. So we're all waiting on the FOMC, which I believe is on the 19th. We're waiting for the final statement. But in the meantime, these tariffs, this tariff war that's going on is causing a lot of fear in the market. The market does not like fear and uncertainty. So we know that that's what we're seeing basically. We're seeing the reaction of the market to these tariffs, to, the unknown war situation, lack of resolution between Ukraine and Russia. So I believe if you're here, you understand what's going on in large part. So anyway, back to what Arthur Hayes is saying here, we basically, this is what is happening, right? Let me read a little bit about what he says. So, once Bitcoin reaches its new floor, it bottoms out, right? Maybe it's 70K, maybe it's 80, maybe this is it, maybe this is the floor. This is not abnormal. Bitcoin always corrects. This is not abnormal, okay? As we saw a moment ago. But as this happens, simultaneously, we'll also have the stock market be correcting as well. And when, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both fall, we know that the NASDAQ is primarily composed of, financial companies. So when they start to fail, TradFi here, as you can see on the screen, then this is usually when all the central banks of the world kick in and either lower rates and start printing money, right? Quantitative easing. So once all the banks of the world, so here we have PBOC, the Bank of China, EC Bank, the European Central Bank, and the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, once they all realize, hey, the conditions of the market are really, really bad, my people are suffering, then everyone will be compelled at the same time. This is just the way it goes. They're going to lower interest rates, as will the Fed, and most likely print more money. And then as this new injection of liquidity comes into the global economy, then this is when people are back into investing. They start investing in Bitcoin. I explained all of this in my video, in my yesterday's video as well. And at this point, if you're smart, as Arthur Hayes says here as well, and I agree, this is when you load up the truck. This is when you load up on Bitcoin. This is when you lean into Chainlink. I believe Chainlink is going to be huge. It's already huge. Ondo, I'm not going to tell you what to invest into, but go look at all the large caps, especially those that have been around a few bear and bull cycles. So anyway, those that have been in crypto for some time, OG Bitcoin maximalists, they're not scared. There are so many funny memes rolling around right now. I was going to share some of them, but I thought, hey, let's just stick to the point today. So I did not share them with you. I'm not sharing them with you, but people who've been in crypto and blockchain for some time are not scared. We know the deal. We know what's going on. And if the parabolic phase of the bull run kicks in, next week, or it kicks in 2 weeks, or kicks in all the way in August, which I don't think is going to happen, but we don't know the exact date. Whatever it is, as of right now, it looks like it's April next month. Then we know it's gonna take off. We're not actually scared, and that's what I would hope you take away from today's video. So anyway, I found another excerpt here by Michael Saylor, who we know is really the Bitcoin ambassador for us all, for the world, and advising the White House and Trump's administration as well on the Bitcoin strategic reserve. So if you have not watched my past videos, I do encourage you to go watch them. Just skip past the first few minutes where I go over Bitcoin's current price and just get into the body of my videos, because I feel like that content is still quite timeless and explains what's going on in light of the market and history and patterns and global liquidity. So very, very interesting. But let me play this bit here for you by Michael Saylor. And this will give you perspective, I hope so anyway, on how you should view your Bitcoin holdings and your blue chip holdings. It's like having been able to invest into, Facebook back in the day when it was just a few dollars. You know how dumb you would feel now if you had sold that stock? Well, take a listen to how he explains this.
Over the next decade. Can you imagine someone sitting around saying, oh, I get mobile device technology, and you're trying to time the market in Apple stock in 2011? Like you're buying and selling Apple stock in 2011? You want to shake them. Like, are you out of your mind? I'm trading Facebook stock back and forth between $8 a share and $4 a share and $12 a share. And you just want to do this. Like, do you not understand that one day every single person on the planet is going to have one of these things in their pocket and it's going to go up by a factor of 100? And you're trying to trade Apple stock between $1.25 and $1.17 and bragging about how you bought it at $1.25 and sold it at $2.11. And have you figured out the consequences of being short the share if it goes up by $100? Like the amount that, are you out of your mind? Because, by the way, I spent 30 years in the business and I obsess over this every.
You see, it's like the equivalent, but on a larger scale because it's Bitcoin. So we're talking about Bitcoin someday being worth millions of dollars. Actually, in a separate video, you can look this up, Michael Saylor, projecting Bitcoin's future price to be somewhere up there in the 20 millions. If anything, even just based off of inflation. But at least $1 million, that's for sure. So let's listen to this next video by Michael Saylor as well. And this is truly, I love the way he explains things. This is, I want to say, almost mind-blowing the way he explains this on how it's literally with the strategy we have in place, the US is trying to implement on the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. We may very likely see the US being able to cancel out all of its debt. We're in debt in the trillions. There's a certain website called, the US debt clock. Look it up. It's crazy. It's this whole dashboard and you can see the US is incurring debt in real time. Crazy. But with the strategies that Trump is implementing, they're painful now, but they're really here to save us, to correct things. It's imagine being extremely sick. I don't know if you've known anyone in your life that's been very sick and they catch the disease or the problem just in time, or maybe this has been you. Think about, you have to nip it hard in the bud at first. You're on antibiotic, you have to cut things out of your diet, you have to stop certain bad habits, you have to go to sleep early, you have to say no to a lot. In the beginning, you suffer when you're trying to fix a problem. It's painful. Or think of the sacrifices you made, trying to get, put yourself through school, or maybe help your family, or some big goal, maybe preparing for some competition or a race or something. The sacrifice you have to pay to reach and, attain great success is often very, very painful in the beginning, especially. And once you get through that initial correction, then you start, then everyone's wow, lucky you, look at how successful you are. But they don't know the price you had to pay to get there, and that is where we're at right now. As, as Americans, as a country, and even and, especially here in the crypto market, we're suffering right now, but it's only the beginning. It's because this is the painful part. We're course correcting. And then from here, it'll get amazing. It's wow, it'll just be amazing. I know it. So let's take a listen to what Michael Saylor has to say here.
Bitcoin is not competing with the dollar. It's competing with international real estate, global equities, expensive money managers on Wall Street, and any long-range investment that somebody makes. And so right now we're about $2 trillion in Bitcoin. It's going to 20 trillion, then it's going to 200 trillion, then it's growing 20% a year. And that capital is coming from overseas. It's coming from China, from Russia, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, from the 20th century to the 21st century. So what's compelling about it is if the United States takes a position in the emerging crypto economy, if it buys up 10, 20% of the Bitcoin network, we're going to pay off the national debt. And so why wouldn't that be in the interest of the United States?
That's right. Of course, it's in the best interest of the United States. So we all just have to hang tight. That said, taking a look at Bitcoin holdings across all the top countries holding Bitcoin, you can see that the US is leading the way right now, but not by much, by like 8,109 Bitcoin. I hope when they audit all of their wallets, of crypto assets they have seized from illegal crypto business, I hope they discover they have more Bitcoin than this. Either way, they have a plan to purchase more Bitcoin. I hope Cynthia Lummis, I hope her proposal on using America's existing gold notes to buy Bitcoin, I hope that goes through. And I hope they get much more creative on how to buy more Bitcoin. But anyway, then we have China, the United Kingdom, Ukraine, Bhutan, El Salvador, Venezuela, Finland, and Georgia. But the main leaders are basically the US, China, and the United Kingdom, followed by Ukraine. And then everyone else is on a smaller scale. But this is still wild. This is still an unbelievable moment in time and space. This is unbelievable. And what's so interesting, according to what Miles Deutscher shares on X, is that you see this purple part on the chart that I'm showing here on the screen. This purple part represents new whales, new big Bitcoin holders. And apparently it's new money, these new Bitcoin whales that are dominating the cycle. What you see in orange here are the old Bitcoin whales that are from previous cycles, but you can see that really what this says is mass adoption. Like mass adoption is happening, and it's happening at scale. We have so many new millionaires and billionaires buying Bitcoin. That's wild. That's like, you can only imagine like this purple part is just gonna skyrocket. So times are changing. And then this list is unbelievable. I will repost this on my page, on my profile, so you can go find it or take a screenshot of what I'm sharing. This is basically the top 70s list up until March 10th, yesterday, illustrating here the top companies holding Bitcoin. And you can see leading the way is Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy by Michael Saylor. And then just take your time and read the list, but this is wild. And apparently we had our first Brazilian company, Melius, join the list. These are unbelievable stats. So apparently 18 companies increased their HODL last week, up 3,177 Bitcoin. 70 companies bought 100% of newly minted Bitcoin. We had our first Brazilian company join the list, as I said, and then the top 70 companies are hodling 661,208 Bitcoin. That's just so incredible. And then just to kind of close out the video with a little joke, this was shared by BTC yeah on X, and they share this funny meme of, like the history guy, the alien guy, and the post says, last cycle the institutions were buying, this cycle the government is buying, next cycle and then we have the alien guy going, aliens, like that's who's next. Anyway, maybe it's not funny, but it's very interesting. So, okay guys, I hope you found today's video insightful. I hope you found it calming and grounding, and just reminds you that we're part of a larger market. And so it's more or less to be expected and natural that the crypto market be struggling a little bit or be down, sideways trending. But we have so many macro reasons to believe, so much Bitcoin adoption happening around the world, that you should really feel reassured in knowing that the bull run's not over. The parabolic phase is not over. Is it going to look different than past bull runs? Yes, it already looks different. But all in all, the market is going to keep going. Bitcoin's going to keep rising. Everyone wants it. It's going to be a money grab here very soon. It already looks like it's starting to become that. So just stay plugged in. Tune in tomorrow. I'll let you know how things are going. And in the meantime, have a great day. And I'll catch you guys here tomorrow. Bye.